Big, massive dumps.
There's some whores in this house.
Oh no!
I have not loved this conversation.
Sexual anarchy.
Clean coal, meaning they're taking out coal, they're going to clean it. I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
They want to make you drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, TGIF, everybody. It's Friday. We got a show for you. It's a good one. It's a Friday show, so yeah, let's do it. Now before I do, what I actually don't have on the breakdown, but I do actually want to talk about it just a little bit for a second. There was an assassination in Japan. What is going on here? Apparently, somebody had made a makeshift shotgun, homemade, like literally, almost taking inspiration from like Fallout, and just making it out of like I don't know, duct tape, electrical stuff. I mean, you had to be really, really, really determined to do that. I know right-wingers would be like, oh, look, see, Japan has gun control, and somebody still assassinated a former prime minister, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge deal, right? But at the same time, also, look at the lengths of how much this person had to go through to get that weapon, to create it. Again, you'd have to be really, really determined to make something like that. And I've seen the pictures of it, and it's not pretty to look at, but apparently it worked. I mean, he was shot and died later at the hospital. So, wow. But hey, again, when it comes to Japan, incredibly rare, super, super, super rare. In Japan, they barely have any shootings, not any mass shootings. And this assassination is, again, it's going to be one of their huge history points that they'll go back to and say, oh my God, this was horrible and horrifying and completely, like, almost nearly unprecedented in you know, in the history of our country. And then, of course, here in America, a person gets shot and killed every day by gun violence. So, I mean, perspective, right? Right wing does not have perspective. And so they'll never talk about the nuances or the differences between our country and how their gun laws generally do prevent the type of gun violence we see in this country every single day. So I just wanted to talk about that. Multiple daily shootings here, says Best Graham 76 on Twitch. Of course. Absolutely. But again, apparently for them, for the right wing, price of freedom. Price of freedom. So, all right. See, you can't eliminate crime. Don't try. Don't try at all. That's right. Apparently, you know, look, people are just gonna murder people. Why is murder illegal? We should have it completely illegal because, you know, the criminals are gonna murder anyway, so why not? I mean, it's just weirdo, tiny, smooth brain logic. More shootings in the U.S. in one day than in Japan in 1 year. Again, right-wingers don't care about facts, don't care about nuance. But yes, it is very shocking about Shinzo Abe's death. That was not something that I expected to see happen. Certainly. I was like, holy crap. What is going on? Yeah, it was Shinzo Abe, again, former prime minister of Japan. He had recently stepped down as a result of, I believe, health issues. One of the longest serving, I think, prime ministers. I'm not entirely sure about that part. But I think he was served, it's like 2007 to 2008 and then 2012 to 2020. And so, and look, he was pretty right wing. And let's not forget about that, right? It has nothing to do with him being, maybe it does. We don't know the motive of what happened. But yeah, he was pretty right wing. Again, I don't know if that has anything to do with this. But yeah, it's just, it is pretty shocking. It is pretty shocking. Emo Dragon, thank you for becoming a supporter, becoming a member on YouTube. If you want to be a member, hit the join button below. All right, so again, we're just kind of got off track talking about Shinzo Abe, that horrible assassination. Because again, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a good thing. Even though I personally probably did not like the guy's politics. All right. That said, we've got other stories. Let's talk about them. We have Brett Kavanaugh. We have Jeffrey Clark. We've got video of Jeffrey Clark being arrested. That's funny and fun. We got Jenna Ellis getting super salty. Biden's executive order. Yes, Biden is actually doing something on abortion rights. Is it enough? We'll break it down. And then finally, MAGA chuds versus history. You're going to love what they admit on camera. They're not even hiding the fact that they want to be ignorant. All right, with that, if he was stepping down, why kill him? That needs to be looked at too. No, 2-man 1051. He had already stepped down previously. So he stepped down, I think, last year or the year before. It was he had already stepped down from government as prime minister. So he was no longer in power, and what he was doing was basically stumping for another candidate. That's why he was out. And so I don't know why he was assassinated. I don't know the motive of this, but it is, I guess we'll find out. It was a 40-year-old, so relatively young person that had perpetrated this. But we do have to see that motive, because I'm very interested to figure out what exactly precipitated this. So, all right. Anyway, let's dive in. We've got Brett Kavanaugh Let's do it. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh is facing the wrath of angry Americans after he had voted to gut reproductive rights. Following a story published by Politico detailing how the far-right justice was forced to flee a popular Washington, D.C. steakhouse after a group of protesters showed up, which was written, by the way, again, since it is Politico, that was written to elicit sympathy among readers. Social media, however, wasn't having any of it. Now, first, let me give you the details before I get into the response to it, because again, very important to have the details. On Wednesday night, D.C. protesters targeting the conservative Supreme Court justices who signed on to the Dobbs decision overturning the constitutional right to an abortion got a tip that Justice Brett Kavanaugh was dining at Morton's downtown D.C. location. Very, very fancy, apparently, D.C. steakhouse. Protesters soon showed up out front, called the manager to tell him to kick Kavanaugh out, and later tweeted that the justice was forced to exit through the rear of the restaurant. He had to go out the back door. Fun. So you can tell I don't really have a problem with this. Here's what, let's see. According to the article, while the court had no official comment on Kavanaugh's behalf, and a person familiar with the situation said that he did not hear or see the protesters and ate a full meal, but left before dessert. Morton's was outraged over the incident. Oh, yes. A representative for the chain steakhouse sent the reporter this statement. Honorable Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh and all of our other patrons at the restaurant were unduly harassed by unruly protesters while eating dinner at our Morton's restaurant. Politics, regardless of your side or views, should not trample the freedom at play of the right to congregate and eat dinner. There is a time and place for everything. Disturbing the dinner of all of our customers was an act of selfishness and void of decency. Oh, won't you think of the decency? How dare you? How dare you? Hey, you know what? Morton's Steakhouse, fuck you. Fuck off. Kiss my ass. You bunch of elite posers, assholes. Oh my God, I can't believe people would come and harass our fancy rich clientele. Don't you understand who we are? We're the elite. We're the elites. We're better than you. Don't you know that? We're better than you. How dare you dirty pores darken our doorstep with your demands for equal rights and bodily autonomy? No, you know what this is? This reeks of elitism. That's what it does, okay? I don't feel bad at all. Oh, are you an elite that's sitting there trying to enjoy dinner? Don't care. Don't give a shit. I don't give one single fuck about you rich people eating at your stupid fancy restaurant. Okay? You know what I care about? I care about members of the Supreme Court literally stripping the rights of millions of Americans, stripping that right of bodily autonomy away. But you're sitting here worried about decorum? Oh, you're not polite enough. Oh, how dare you be so rude? You know what's rude? Taking away rights. You know what's rude? Letting people die. Because that's what's happening. Poor people, historically, poor black women are affected by abortion, okay? Affected by the lack of access to safe abortions. Now, of course, it's not just black women that are affected. Now you have white women that are affected, okay? But everyone who has a uterus, trans men, intersex, non-binary, if you have a uterus, you're affected by this. And you happen to be unlucky enough to live in these states that have banned abortion and do not have the means to be able to afford to go to these blue states. Okay? But apparently the elites are much more concerned with Justice Kavanaugh. Oh, the honorable Justice Kavanaugh. I haven't seen a goddamn thing about him that is honorable. All right? They're more concerned with him being able to eat his expensive steak, which probably sucks, in peace. No. I'm not at all interested in you. I'm not interested in your stupid restaurant. I'm not interested in your stupid decorum or your excuses. I'm not interested in this bullshit. What I'm interested in is human rights, people's rights. But you've shown, once again, that you don't care about the people. You don't care about average people who are affected by this. You know who's not affected by this? The wealthy. You know why? Wealthy people can go somewhere else. They can just fly to another state. You can fly to another country. Yeah, how many Republicans, how many wealthy Republican congressmen have flown their mistresses out and to get an abortion? Paid for them to get abortions. And you want to talk about decorum? Fuck off. Kiss my ass. I hope you choke on your steak. Am I clear enough? Am I clear enough? All right, so now, I love how, again, Politico clutching their pearls. All these establishment outlets. Oh, I can't believe that you would protest when somebody's eating their dinner. Oh, you protest in front of their house too? Oh my God. Shut up. Shut up. And give me a goddamn break. What is wrong with you people? You don't care at all about regular, average people that are being hurt by this. You don't care at all. At all. You know they closed down the area in front of the Supreme Court. They fenced it all off so that you can't go and protest there. Well, so if you can't protest there and you can't protest in front of their house, where are you supposed to protest? Oh, right. According to them, you're not. You're supposed to shut up and fucking take it when they screw you. That's what they want. They want you to shut up, sit your ass down, bend the knee, and take it while they fuck you out of your own rights. That's what they want. That's what they're... No, you know what? I would interrupt them in every single dinner. Do it peacefully, sure. Don't do violence. But you know what? Be annoying. Because there is no protest out there that isn't annoying. Because if it's not annoying, if it's not inconvenient, is it really a protest? Is it really going to get attention? They want to neuter your ability to protest, to make your voice heard. We are allowed by the Constitution to have a redress of our grievances by the government. That is our First Amendment rights. And we have a government that is stripping us of those rights. And they're stripping women and other people of these rights. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. All right, there's more. Twitter had some fun responses, okay? Let's lighten it up. We're going to start up with HuffPost editor Andy Campbell. Tweeted this. Politico clutching pearls today after a handful of unruly protesters targeted Brett Kavanaugh by standing outside during his steak dinner. Just an absolutely terrifying night for Kavanaugh, who did not hear or see the protesters and ate a full meal before he left before dessert. But left before dessert. If only these protesters had the decency to allow Brett Kavanaugh the freedom to finish his lobster salad, which I'm sure he chased down with a beer. Nothing wrong with beer. I'm just saying, he likes beer. He likes beer. He drinks beer. Nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with the alleged sexual assault, though, but we just forgot about that. Now, Campbell also adds, and this is a great point, we have so vilified regular old protesters in this country that our institutions will bend over backwards to defend fascist street gangs, true, as protected demonstrators, but fill their diapers as soon as a crusty white politician feels uncomfortable, or in this case, his communications person. True. Very true. All right, Midwest Mom tweets this. Thoughts and prayers about Brett Kavanaugh having to leave out the back door before dessert. Another person says, fuck around and find out. Sorry, dude. You want to ruin the lives of millions, expect people to tell you they hate it. True. Erie Doctrine says, you don't get to say that there's no right to privacy and then complain about not getting privacy. And that's a really, really important part as well. Again, that's what the Supreme Court decision basically came down to. Since it's not in the Constitution explicitly a right to an abortion, well, then apparently it's not in there. Well, you know what? Guess what? Brett Kavanaugh, you don't have a right to eat dinner in peace. In fact, here's some more. Gary Legum says the justice was denied his right to order overpriced tiramisu, assuming he even wanted dessert. What horror. Southpaw says, I feel like I'm saying this 3 times a week at this point, but the Supreme Court has been very clear that Americans are not entitled to avoid passing through sidewalk protests on the way to or from exercising rights of their own. And finally, not finally, sorry, but here's a good one. This comes from Farron Cousins, friend of the show. He tweeted, as Congress did not explicitly say that SCOTUS justices have a right to eat in peace, Kavanaugh's complaint is overturned. Well done. Well done. And then finally, no, not finally, sorry. D. Smith says, my sympathy for the justices evaporated when I learned that SCOTUS approved picketing at the homes of medical personnel, providing women's health care and abortions. What's good for the goose? That is absolutely more frustrating. And yeah, you can go ahead and protest at the abortion providers' homes. And by the way, you know, if you want to picket outside of a clinic and yell at women, girls who go in to get not just abortions, but all reproductive care. You can yell, you can call them murderers, baby murderers, whores, sluts. You can say all these horrible things about women that are just going in for reproductive care, both women and girls, by the way, young girls who may be victims of rape or incest. They don't care. They can go and picket in front of those abortion clinics, Planned Parenthoods. They can do that all day long. But you want to protest in front of a Supreme Court justice's house? No, you can't. You're going to shut that down. You want to protest in front of the Supreme Court? We're going to shut that down. You want to protest in front of a restaurant where this guy's this asshole's trying to enjoy his overpriced steak? No, we're going to shut that down too. Well, then what's left? There's nothing left. Nothing left. No, fuck around and find out. Finally, Armin Devijan says, I was disturbed by this, but I spoke with several Republican elected officials who stated that if the protest is going to happen anyway, there's no reason for him not to finish his dinner. Their advice was to just sit back and enjoy it. I love what he did there. All right. Moving on. I'm fired up today. Don't know if you could tell. We have some new video from the arrest of former Trump official Jeffrey Clark. So last month, the FBI raided him in relation to the January 6th insurrection. In that June 23rd raid, officers had seized Clark's electronics after, of course, knocking on the door and basically catching him in his underwear. Now, the search was confirmed by Clark's current employer, who would send a written message that agents led a pajama-clad Clark out of his house in suburban Virginia in the early morning and took all of his electronic devices. Clark, later on, after the raid, went on to talked to Tucker Carlson about this, and I want to show you what he had said back then, and then we're going to contrast it with the video. Take a look.
This is an almost, I mean, this is a Soviet account, really. So tell us what happened and why.
I opened the door and asked for the courtesy to be able to put some pants on, and was told, no, you got to come outside. So I came outside. They swept the house. Eventually, they let me go back inside and put the pants on. But then, you know, by my count at one point, 12 agents and 2 Fairfax County police officers went into my house, searched it for 3.5 hours, and they took all of the electronics from my house. You know, I just think we're living in a era that I don't recognize, and increasingly, Tucker, I don't recognize the country anymore with these kinds of Stasi-like things happening.
I don't recognize the country with Stasi-like things happening. Okay, well, so now Stasi was, of course, the German secret police under the communist East Germany, and so wow, scary, right? Tucker Carlson saying it's Soviet. So now I'm going to show you video here. This is officer body camera footage from that raid. Take a look.
Hey, Mr. Clark.
Yes.
How are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Anya Whitney. I'm a special agent with BOJ OIG. You can just turn that off for me. Can you step outside with me? We've got a search warrant, and we need to speak to you. Can I get you to step outside for me?
Can I call my lawyer? Sure. Come on outside and do it.
Yeah. Let's step outside. And
Just real quick, we got to clear the house, make sure it's safe. Is your wife home? No, nobody's home. Okay, so no one is in there?
You can absolutely call your lawyer. Go ahead and step outside with me real quick.
Okay.
And then
We'll put you over here behind your car so no one will see you.
Yeah. Go ahead and step on out here for
Come on
me.
this way. Can I put pants on first? Sir, we got to clear the house.
We're going to clear the house,
make
and
sure
as soon as we
it's safe.
clear the house, we'll get you talking to your lawyer, and we'll get some pants on, okay?
Can I open the garage and stand in the garage?
It's a search warrant.
It's a search warrant, so just come on right over here, please.
Stand behind the cars and we'll see you. There's no reason.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Stasi. What a horrifying raid. Oh my God, the violence. Everybody, I hope you had averted your eyes. I should have given you a warning with just all this horrible violence that was going on against Jeffrey Clark. Really? Really? Again, that's what Jeffrey Clark considered to be a violent Stasi raid. The kindest raid I have ever seen. But this shows you how right-wingers will cry about anything. They'll compare it to real oppression, because there are people in this country that deal with real oppression. But this guy thinks, oh my God, I can't believe I don't even have pants on. What are you doing? I should be able to go back and get pants. But how dare you raid my house? What are you doing? You're going to take my electronics? You're asking me to come outside? What is this? This must be what real oppression is. No, it's not, jackass. Again, crying about everything. Now, you might be wondering, okay, look, why not at least let the guy get his pants? Well, considering how it's a search warrant, do you really want to give the guy a chance to destroy evidence? Because again, that's what they were looking for, okay? Look at that. My laptop's just somehow flew out the window by itself. I don't know what happened. My iPhone just got flushed down the toilet. Oops. Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh. No. Again, you don't want to let them have a chance to go and destroy evidence. That's why they go in a surprise raid. And again, it's not even a raid. It was somebody knocking at your door saying, hey, we're going to have to sweep the house. We're looking for evidence. We're looking for electronics. And, to try to get some documentation. What I saw right there is respectful agents doing their jobs. And you know why they're respectful? It's because this guy's rich. This guy is rich and has power. And so, of course, the police, of course, federal agents are going to be very, very soft in their response, soft in how they treat this guy. Because again, he does have power, right? Or had power, and is again very wealthy. And so yet this guy thinks that response, that so-called raid, is comparable to being raided by the German communist secret police. Are you kidding me? Give me a goddamn break. But again, it's the entitlement, right? I'm rich. How can you do this to me? You don't do this to me. You do this to poor people. That's what you do. Again, you think they'd let like Cletus get a pair of pants if they raid his trailer for meth? No, that's not going to happen. But again, these people, they cry and cry and cry because they're right wingers and that's all they do. They're the biggest babies in this country. Honestly, they can't stop crying and claiming oppression. But they're not oppressed. Now, one more thing here. And this is going back to Tucker Carlson for a minute, right? And this is where it gets dark, of course. At the end of that interview with Jeffrey Clark, Tucker Carlson says this. He says, quote, "This is Stalinist," once again, evoking communism, right? Doing some red baiting because, of course, that works. And at some point, someone is going to fight back and it's going to get super ugly. He then says, "I pray that it doesn't happen, but I think it probably will." Oh. Now, again, super dangerous rhetoric from Tucker Carlson. Making people believe that all of this, for one, that entire segment was, DOJ, political, being controlled by the Biden administration to be super, super political. Really? We just have, found possible evidence that the IRS director that was appointed by Trump used his office to target James Comey and Andrew McCabe, as well as Michael Cohen, for very intensive, deep audits. Ironically, of course, Trump claims that he couldn't hand over his taxes because he was under audit for the last 8 years. Sure. Again, super dangerous. Trying to intimate that this is all the Democrat secret police and that someone somewhere has to fight back. Well, I mean, they're going to, and I pray it doesn't happen. That's the plausible deniability. All right. I think he's probably doing a little dog whistle to his followers, saying, well, somebody's going to fight back. Is it going to be you? You going to fight back? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting and super scary. All right. Let's move on. We're going to get salty here. Election denier Jenna Ellis got a little bit salty after Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles and Megan Rapinoe were given the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She tweeted this: "Fittingly, Biden awarded his presidential medals to fellow losers Biles and Rapinoe." Wait, hold on. Losers? Interesting choice of words here, considering not only did Biden win the 2020 election, but also Biles and Rapinoe had actually won multiple gold medals. It doesn't make sense. You don't get gold medals for losing. That's not what losers get. But as I said before, she is a little bit salty because she happens to be a loser, a 63-time loser, because she had failed every single lawsuit that she was in to try to overturn the election. I mean, no one nowhere has racked up, I should say no one anywhere has racked up that much of a losing streak since Elon Musk started playing Elden Ring. To be fair, he might be stuck on Melania. I don't know. He should probably call in, let me solo her. Although, I would hope that he wouldn't help Elon Musk. But anyway, why go after Rapinoe and Biles? It doesn't make any sense. What did they do wrong? They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. They've actually used their platform to promote good things. So, of course, right-wingers have to be against that because they don't like good things. They like bad things. Look, Biden gave them the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I don't actually care about the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I don't care about any of that. Honestly, what's really the point, right? Again, doesn't matter to me. I don't think it's that important. But these Trump people, they're so salty about anything. Because to them, they think that this stuff is important. And it's super weird. And look, I want to give you an example of who Trump, because here we have Biden awarding gymnasts, right? And people using their platforms for good things. That's who he gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Who did Donald Trump give the Presidential Medal of Freedom to? Well, Trump awarded the nation's highest civilian honor to people like billionaire GOP donor Miriam Adelson, whose late husband just happened to have given Donald Trump millions of dollars in campaign bribes. Legal bribes, of course, because our system is corrupt. Our system has legalized bribery, legalized corruption, and so, of course, you give millions of dollars, $75 million in bribes just in 2020 alone, and you get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, you also had another recipient being the late Rush Limbaugh. Wonderful. I hope that metal is made of something that has a high melting point. He might need it where he's at. Just saying. And then you also had Representatives Devin Nunes, who now runs Truth Social for Donald Trump. So that's fun, or Trump Central, or whatever they called it. Whatever he decided to call it. Look, this is the guy that sued a fake cow and lost. He lost. Hilarious. And then Jim Jordan, of course, not hilarious, but he had helped cover up a college sex abuse scandal while he was coach at Ohio State. So, the best people, the greatest people. And by the way, Megan Rapinoe also had echoed Brittany Grenier. And so wore something in honor of her. She should, of course, be freed and brought back home. Now, here's the best part of this. Biles hit back. And I love it. She tweeted, quote, "Who is Jenna Ellis? Asking for everyone?" Well, no one important, I assure you. Just a loser whose crowning achievement is literally getting farted on by Rudy Giuliani. That's who Jenna Ellis is. Complete and total loser. Because, the best people, the greatest people.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
All right. Let's get a little bit more serious. The fart heard across all the courtrooms. Republicans are made of only moral fiber. Well, no, actually, because if they were, they wouldn't be full of shit constantly. Like, literally constipated. Resting fart face. All right. Anyway, serious conversation. President Joe Biden has been feeling some of the heat to do something in the face of the extremist conservative Supreme Court gutting reproductive rights. On Friday, President Biden signed a limited executive order to help those living in states that have enacted so-called trigger laws, which prevent women and non-binary, trans men as well in the states, to, or I should say, prevent them from getting reproductive rights, reproductive health care like abortions, or even certain medications. So now the order, which was outlined in a fact sheet released by the White House, comes 2 weeks after the Supreme Court's ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, which of course, unfortunately, ended the constitutional right to an abortion and sent those decisions back to the states. Under the new order, Biden is instructing the Department of Health and Human Services to take additional action to protect and expand access to abortion care, including access to medication that the FDA proved is safe and effective over 20 years ago. The order, as summarized by the White House, also expresses the Biden administration's commitment to shielding the right of pregnant people to travel safely to another state to seek the care they need, as Republican lawmakers look to bar residents from crossing state lines in order to obtain an abortion. So let me just stop there, all right? How insane is that? That Republicans, who claim to be for freedom, they want to prevent pregnant people, women, trans men, non-binary, from literally leaving their states if they want to get an abortion elsewhere. They're forbidding the human right to travel. Really? I'm sorry. Are you for freedom or are you not for freedom? Because that doesn't sound like freedom to me. Barring people's right to travel. I mean, can you imagine? Like this is so close to being a reality now. Republicans setting up border checkpoints between the states, demanding to see if you're pregnant. That's the horrifying future and present that we have now today. An officer coming up, an agent. Oh, hey, it looks like you got a little bump there. Did you eat too much last night or what? Or maybe you're pregnant. Do I need to give you an invasive ultrasound? I can do that. Or you might want to turn around, if you're pregnant. Because I hear you might want to get an abortion. Can't have that. Can't have that. These are the people that apparently say that they believe in freedom. But they don't. Of course they don't believe in freedom. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, getting back to the order here, another part of it ensures that federal workers are granted paid sick leave if they need to travel to obtain reproductive care, but this only applies to federal workers. The president also asked the chair of the FTC to consider taking steps to protect consumer privacy. He's also directing the HHS to consider additional actions to safeguard sensitive information related to reproductive health care. And so, no, I think that's important because I'd reported before how right-wingers want to get access to, and these state governments, access to period tracker apps. And you might think, wait a minute, period tracker apps? What are you talking about? Why is that an issue here? Well, they can give this data or sell this data to pro-life groups or so-called pro-life groups, anti-abortion groups, or state governments, or even be forced to hand over that information to state governments to track to see if you are leaving the state or wanting to get an abortion somewhere. Using that information. Oh, hey, it looks like according to your own records that we stole from you, you haven't had a period in so long. 5 weeks, say. 6 weeks. Ooh, looks like there might be an issue here. Maybe you're pregnant, and therefore you can't leave the state. That's a huge invasion of privacy. Huge invasion. And so I get this is good that they're taking these steps, right? And again, while these executive orders, and there are other orders involved in this, right? Good, better than nothing. It is something, but it does. The fact that this had taken weeks to come out, it shows you how bad their response really has been, because it took too long to get here. Remember, the Biden administration was caught completely by surprise, even though the leaked draft had been out for some time. You would have thought that the Biden administration would have had a plan, in place, these executive orders ready right there, so that when that decision was handed down, we could go, okay, let's swing into action. Women just lost their rights to an abortion because of this extreme Supreme Court. But don't worry, we got a plan. We've got all the stuff that's ready for us to do. The minute that happens, we go out there and we tell them, okay, here's what we're going to do. The extremist Supreme Court took away your right to an abortion, but here's how we're going to protect you. That's what leadership looks like. That's what a leader does. Did we see that? No, we didn't. These orders should have been out there the moment the Supreme Court announced that ruling. If I were Biden or Harris, the same day that this happened, not only would I have had orders ready, executive orders prepared, I would have been out there breathing fire. Fire and fucking brimstone. This is the extremists on the Supreme Court. They have taken away your freedom. But we are going to do everything we can to fight for this. We are going to challenge every single Republican law in the states. We are going to drag them out into court. We are going to make this so goddamn litigious that, litigious, whatever you want to call it, right? We're going to bog you down in the courts for years. We're going to violate every state order. And we're going to make sure that you have to bring us to court. But in the meantime, we are going to protect women's reproductive freedom. We're going to do it. You want to stop us? Let's have a challenge. Bring it, bitch. That's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. And again, unfortunately, Biden would consider it rude. The Democrats would consider it, oh, how rude. Oh, what a waste of time. What a waste of time. No. It's called fighting. It's called actually fighting for it. Actually doing something. But instead, here's what we had. White House counsel Dana Remus, this is from CNN, had assured senior aides the Supreme Court wouldn't rule on abortion that day. A White House press aide assigned to the issue was walking to get coffee when the alert hit. Several Democratic leaders privately mocked how the president stood in the foyer of the White House, squinting through his remarks from a teleprompter as demonstrators poured into the streets, making only vague promises of action because he and his aides hadn't decided on more. He and his aides, they hadn't decided on it. They had weeks. Nope, we didn't. Oh, we didn't see it coming. Caught completely flat-footed. Is that leadership? That's not leadership. That's embarrassing. What were you doing, Joe? Were you taking a nap? Sleepy Joe? You just napping it away? And now suddenly, oh no, oh, I'm awake now. Oh, it looks like I actually have to do something now. And look, there are people on Twitter, of course. Every time you bring it up, I get libs on Twitter that, MSNBC establishment, Kamala Harris, Biden people that are saying, yeah, but Jeff, what can you do? He doesn't have the votes. You just want everything. You just want everything right now, and that's not how it works. Oh, so you just give up fighting on everything then? You just completely surrender and let Republicans take whatever the hell they want. All because we don't have the vote. Republicans didn't have the votes for years and years and years. Guess what? They win. They keep winning because they keep fighting. They keep fighting for the worst things. They fight to make your life worse. But goddamn, they don't give up. They don't give up till they do it. They don't give up till they win. Well, maybe we ought to do that. Maybe we ought to do that, but we don't. The Democrats don't. They've already thrown their hands up for the most part. Until, of course, there was pressure from progressives and most of the country that did not want to see Roe overturned. So now, what can they do, right? What could he do? His hands are tied. His hands are tied. He just doesn't have the votes. All right, well, he could have used federal land to open up temporary abortion clinics on federal lands in states where abortion was banned. Now, the White House immediately shot that idea down. Oh, no. Oh, no. Can't do that. Can't do that. Well, what else? Well, we found out just today. This is according to reporter Shira Stein, who covers HHS. Okay. She tweeted out this, quote, "The Biden administration also considered declaring a public health emergency to preserve broad access to abortion services following the overturn of Roe. However, officials ultimately decided against the move, according to people familiar with the matter." So here's something they could have done, a public health emergency, to at least temporarily allow for Roe to continue, to allow for women and everyone else to get reproductive health care. And they decided, that'd be too disruptive. Sorry, we're not going to do it. It would have been disruptive. It would have been too big. It would have been too bold. And it would have made Republicans very, very mad. Oh, they wouldn't have been happy about that. They probably would have challenged it in court. And again, there's so many excuses. Oh, Republicans they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll strike this down. There's even people that argued, well, we couldn't codify Roe because Republicans would strike it down. Oh, well, why don't we just roll over, give up, and let Republicans do everything they want? Let's just give Republicans everything. Why don't we take the shovel and dig a fucking hole and lie down in it and let the Republicans just, push the dirt on top of us? Why not? Why don't we just fucking die? I mean, why even be there? Why are you there if you're not going to fight? Why are you there if you're not going to challenge them? Aren't you supposed to be the opposition party? Isn't being an opposition party mean you actually have to oppose what the other people are doing? And you actually have to challenge these laws? And you have to challenge these norms and do something different? But no, we can't do that. We can't do that at all. No, again, would make Republicans very, very mad and would be very upset. They would be very upset, and it would just be so rude. How dare you? Well, that's just not following the norms. And you think Republicans do that? No. They don't do that at all. Now, there are other ideas. Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Patty Murray from Washington also said this. They also suggested that federal agencies could explore opportunities to provide vouchers for travel, childcare services, and other forms of support for individuals seeking to access abortion care that is unavailable in their home state. Guess what they did? They do that? No. They didn't do any of this stuff. So understand that while this is Biden waking up from his nap, Sleepy Joe saying, oh man, oh God, fine, I'll do something. I'll just do a little bit, okay? I got to do something. These damn progressives are up my ass again, and they're interrupting my nap. Fine, we'll sign this. Okay, still, no cookie for you. You don't get any goddamn cookies because you have already failed and you have already given up. And what you're doing is the bare minimum way too late. Okay. Go back and look at Joe's record. He was always slow starting since way back. It's true. No, you're absolutely right. Again, this is why I said during the primary, we got to get Bernie in there, because Joe Biden is not the guy for the moment. And look, I don't care how many, because look, I'm going to be real straight with you guys, okay? Like I've lost subscribers, I've lost followers, I've lost patrons, I've lost supporters, paid supporters on YouTube for calling out Democrats. Don't give a fuck. I'm going to say my truth, because this is the truth. And I'm sorry you don't want to hear it. I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm sorry it offends you when I pick on the Democrats for being absolutely weak and factless. Because what they're doing right now is not supporting you. I'll support Democrats when Democrats support me. I'll support Democrats when Democrats support us. When they actually support the people, when they actually protect the people they say that they're there to protect. Okay? That's when Democrats will get my support. Until then, they can fuck off. And again, if you're not willing to sit and listen to any criticism of the Democrats, and there's bullshit criticism, and I talk about that all the time. I point that shit out all the time. Okay? There's bullshit criticism, but then there's actual criticism. Real criticism. To make them better. Not to tear them down. Not to ensure that Republicans win. Ravaging Wolverine says, we're not cheerleaders. Goddamn right I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not going to cheerlead feckless Democrats who roll over and lose every time. What am I? Like, okay, I may have been a Detroit Lions fan when I was growing up. I'm used to losing. To be fair. But I'm sick of it. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose on policy. And that's the most important thing, because policy affects people's lives. People are dying from these decisions. People are dying under Republicans. Republicans aren't even in charge. And yet, what does it feel like? What does it feel like the past 2 years? It feels like Republicans have been running the whole show. It feels like they've been in charge the whole time. They're not. They should. Technically, Democrats run the government. Oh, a slim majority. Oh, you understand? Joe Manchin. And then those same people turn around and they say, well, if Joe Manchin leaves, then Democrats are screwed. How so? Democrats already screwed. They don't do anything. They don't do anything unless their donors allow them to do so. Get out of here with that. Nothing but excuses, nothing but defenses that are incredibly weak. No, Democrats fight. You actually fight, and we'll support you. You don't fight, then you know what? You're not going to get our support. Why is it that when Republicans are in power, they push everything through? Why is it when Democrats are in power, the Republicans still push everything through? It's because, Lisa, the Democrats are weak. Maybe they're paid to lose. We got to get rid of all of them. Replace all the incumbents. Unless they're progressive, unless they actually fight, get rid of them. Gone. Primary them all. All right. Goddamn. All right. One last story here. Conservative pushback to historical facts continues. And a great example, there's this interview that W. Kamau Bell had with some conservatives. These conservatives said that teachers should not be allowed to say that slavery is bad. Don't believe me? Take a look.
Right now, there's arguments about should we teach kids a more accurate history of America?
Race theory?
What'd you say? Here we go.
Race theory?
Race theory.
Is it the race?
Critical race theory. What are your thoughts on that?
You can teach it without having an opinion.
But is it okay if a teacher says, I think slavery was bad? Is that okay?
No. No.
No?
No.
What about this? If they go, Nazis not good.
Nothing is bad.
Nothing's bad.
No.
And if the latter is how you heard about it first, then I'm not surprised you're confused, which is why I grind my teeth when I sleep.
It's totally manipulation and manufacturing a crisis.
Who's manufacturing it?
The Democrats. It's always a race card. I get so sick of it. We need to teach children to compete when the Chinese probably know more about American history than we do.
So we should teach better American history here.
Well, yeah.
It's like the history of America.
History of America.
Slavery, genocide, Native Americans.
No, well, no.
Not that stuff?
Well, not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing. I mean, you should teach history, but not the stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. I mean, I should be surprised. I'm not surprised because I've been covering this. That just complete rejection of any facts that don't make them feel good. Again, you heard that woman. Nothing is bad. Nothing is bad. Yeah, there are bad things. There are also great things about America, or at least the idea of America. But there's bad things too. Again, slavery. Oh, for them, nothing is bad. Nothing is bad. No. I'm afraid to ask them about the Holocaust. I'm afraid to know what they would say about this. I don't know. Maybe they would acknowledge, oh, well, of course that's bad because, it didn't happen in America. Right. But I love how they also say, oh, well, one says, well, you could teach history without having an opinion. Okay, but what you're saying then, right there, is believing that enslaving fellow human beings, forcing them into servitude with no pay, beating them, whipping them, raping them, treating them as not human beings, but property, teaching that that's bad, saying that that's bad in a classroom is wrong. That's what you're saying. That is fucked. I can't even express how unbelievably fucked that is. For one, what the hell happened to freedom? What the hell happened to the marketplace of ideas? I mean, again, it doesn't even exist apparently in their world. But my favorite thing here, again, is when he asked that other woman, should we teach the entire history of America? And she says, oh yeah, but then no, because not for the bad things that we did. They're so open about how they want people to literally remain ignorant. And it just makes me think, too, back to a viewer that posted this from Reddit yesterday. And I saw it on Twitter immediately when I was reading the story today. That's what I thought of. I'm going to show it to you. Here it is. Looking for books about the 400-year American Indian War that aren't woke. I've been reading a lot more history lately, and I found a few authors that are obsessed with making guilt their central theme. Rodney Stark is currently my favorite, but I'm really interested in reading about the early American wars with the natives. I've been Googling, and it's been pretty difficult to find even a single book that doesn't seem to focus around America being awful and the natives being peaceful victims. Does anyone have a recommendation that would fit these conditions? Ideally, no more than 500 pages, and isn't woke. Isn't woke. I mean, I would love to learn about history as long as it's not actual history. I'll take one history book, please. Hold the history. Really? Really? I love history, except for the history that I don't like. You know, for people, again, who talk about the free marketplace of ideas and how, you know, libs are triggered by facts and they only rely on the feelings. These people seem to have a lot of feelings. So many feelings. And they have turned everything that they don't like into woke. It's so woke. And that's it. That's it. It doesn't mean anything. Woke doesn't mean a damn thing. It's not a real thing. It's just that they don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. But let me go to Bell here, who, after this, put it this way on CNN, quote, "The GOP in this country is doing a great job of confusing what's important in this country. And I think that a lot of the leadership of that party has gone out of its way to conflate, to use buzzwords like woke, and scary things like woke and CRT, critical race theory, when really what they don't want to do is what that woman said, teach an accurate rendition of history to our kids." I think it's actually a little bit worse than that. I think what they want to do is hide information. They want to hide this information in order to push their white nationalist agenda. What they're doing is brainwashing young people into believing things that aren't true. And why they're doing that is because they know that they have lost young people today. They know that they have lost the culture. And so their only shot at staying relevant and hanging on to power is, well, to target and groom young people. They, again, here you have conservatives that are always talking about you're grooming children in reference to LGBTQ, right? Grooming children. I mean, this is exactly what they're doing. Grooming children into white nationalism. Grooming children into an alternate set of facts in an alternate history. That's exactly what they're doing. It is projection. It has always been projection. All this stuff about, liberal indoctrination in our schools. No, it's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to indoctrinate people into whatever the hell they believe. White nationalism, white supremacy, and revisionist history. That's what it's all about. Trying to capture the young. And they've admitted it over and over again. Maybe we ought to do something, to protect information and facts. All right. Well, now, that has been a day. Yes, Christian nationalism. Some clown in YouTube chat just did the very revisionist history the story was about. True. And yes, by the way, I do want to give credit to the person that shared this. So, let me find their name in the chat here. Where is it? The Emo Dragon. Thank you, Emo Dragon. I wanted to make sure to get it right. Terrible with remembering names, but yes, it was Emo Dragon. It was a great tweet as always. And I really appreciate you sharing that because it's exactly incredibly relevant to that story. So thank you. All right. Lots of youth are falling into troll dens and getting radicalized. I would not rely on youth being more progressive. We have to keep acting and applying pressure. Nightingale, you're absolutely right, though. You are right. We do have to continue to, again, protect facts and knowledge. All right. Let's go to Super Chats. A couple shout outs here. Jonathan Leiter says, it's rude taking a sledgehammer to the U.S. Constitution. It's true. Very true. Madi Darna, thank you very much for the $2. Appreciate that. Virginia Thomas, aka Ice Dragon, says, that's why I support the channel. You're straight, no chaser. Thank you. Again, I will, I will go out there and yes, I will, because I've seen this before. People going, oh, you shouldn't say that about Biden. Or if you're going to criticize Democrats, then I'm not going to support this channel. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to be a member. I'm going to cancel my membership. And they have. And it's just like, I'm not going to change for money. Like, I know maybe you expect people to sell out when you give them cash and to tell you exactly what, what you want to hear. Not going to do it. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to do audience capture. I'm not going to be captured by the audience. I want you guys to keep me honest, for one. And yes, I actually like when people disagree with me for good reason. And if I get it wrong, goddamn, I want you to call it out. But also, I'm not going to, tailor the content to the audience, even though that's what the YouTube algorithm tells me exactly what to do. No, I'm going to talk about the things that are important. I'm going to talk about the things that I find important, that I think that are important, that you should, that you should know about, but also things that are fun. And I'm never going to change my principles for cash. Never going to happen. So, sorry. Those of you who are interested in only giving me or supporting me money, or supporting or giving me money because you want me to say the things that you want to hear, it's not going to happen. I'm going to always be honest with you. Did I hear about the lobbyist praying with the Supreme Court? I did, actually. That is fucked. And by the way, on a live stream. Okay. Let's see. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate it. And finally, Beth Graham 76, thank you for giving a tier 1 sub to Marina McElroy Green. Awesome. I like to see the gifting. Did I talk about the officer who killed Tamir Rice? No, I didn't get a chance, but there is an update in that story. So he was going to be a police officer in Pennsylvania. He has withdrawn that. He has withdrawn his application to be a police officer in Pennsylvania once that story came out. So that is kind of a breaking news there. Yes, Jules T, breaking news. Timothy Lohman, who was hired in PD and PA, resigned due to uproar. He was the one who shot and killed Tamir Rice. Thank you for Jules T for sharing that as well. Didn't notice that. But yes, I'd read about that earlier. All right. Oh, damn, it's been a day. Everybody try to have a good weekend. Again, I know it's difficult. Please try to stay sane. Stay safe. It is America. You never know what's going to happen. So, all right. Thank you all. Love you. Stay safe. Again, stay sane. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Love you all. Remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation.
I will eat your ass.
Big, massive dumps.
I'm a fatty, fat coat.
Please clap.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of bees. Testicles. Obama. They're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.